Okay, one thing I'm going to cover here is neck maintenance. I've had neck damage and I've had to reverse a lot of it, and also preventive maintenance. Our necks need to be stretched and worked, and mobility in the neck is really important because as that shrinks up, the shoulders shrink up, everything starts to come to, we end up getting problems clear down. I even partially ended up uh, tearing a connection of my teres major because of my neck got so tight, and that traveled down and ended up pulling that. Um, First of all, is basic stretching. When you stretch the neck needs to keep its mobility. And just by literally grabbing the side of your head like this and pulling it over till you have a stretch, but it's not painful, you want to hold that for 3 minutes. At the 3 minute mark, you will actually keep some of the benefit of the stretch. Otherwise, you'll stretch, it'll feel a little better for a second, but then it goes right back. And then rest for, a minute or so. Grab it with the other arm. Try to touch the ear to the shoulder and just let that stretch. You want it to be a comfortable stretch, not a painful stretch. And then after 3 minutes, let up. Now there is stretching the backside, and I actually use a head strap, and I've hooked a band to this before. There's a way to like put a band under your feet and do it that way. I just use a light dumbbell because all I'm doing is working the neck itself. But like this, I come out and try to keep my upper body a little bit horizontal, and I'll come down and then come up like this. And at times you can do the thing where you tuck the chin into the chest and come up. But the most important one is to let the neck shrink down, shoulders stay back, and then bring the head up. That's going to work the neck muscles that keep it erected, right? Another movement is the X3 deadlift and shrug. That's going to also keep the muscles pulled down in the back instead of letting your shoulders round forward and the neck come like this, right? You see those people that are like that. That is needing to come up like this. So working your back, the row, the deadlift, the shrug, things like that. Now, you're going to feel um, the muscles once they start pulling down into place. You'll be able to actually lay your head forward and you can feel stuff stretching. Just put your hands like this on the back of your head, tuck the chin into your chest, and let that stretch for a while. And you turn your head from side to side. And you're not trying to rip your head off, you're just giving it a good stretch. And then tipping the head back and pushing on the chin. You can even rotate a little there, but you're stretching right here. And then for severe cases like myself, I have a Y strap. And this is the piece where you actually hook it behind the skull and somebody can pull on your head and traction your neck and your spine clear down to your tailbone. And then once in a while they can shrug back quick a couple inches, and it'll, if there's some tight tissue, it'll pop it loose. You'll even hear your neck crack. And ideally you want to be able to feel that tension clear to the pelvic bone, but I'm not going to display that because that's something that you want to put a lot, you're going to have to look up and learn to do that properly. You know, I've studied it and I have friends that know how to do it, and I've taught my significant other how to do it, so I can safely have it done a couple times a week. And I had a car injury where I had whiplash this way and then landed on top of my head and compressed my neck, and it was completely immobile for a while. And then I started actually having a lot of issues. My neck was like this, and then the shoulders adapted that way. And when my shoulders finally started coming down, stretching out, the humerus here actually, stuff was still tight under here, and it pulled the humerus up like deep into the socket, and the muscle like went into it. And I couldn't even do a lateral raise to here because everything was so tight. And I ended up having a big ball of scar tissue right here with everything. And I even tore part of the tricep. That's where I tell guys to, when we're lifting weights, to exhaust the muscle as much as you can with bands and get all the ligaments and everything warmed up. And bands will pull the muscle where it's supposed to be, because with a weight, where we strain the most is in the stretched position, and that's where things will start to shorten up. With the band, you'll have tension in the beginning, keep the ligament warm, but in the furthest position where the muscles are seated where they're supposed to be, that's where you're going to apply the most pressure. You're not going to damage the ligament, and it's going to pull muscles into the position where they're supposed to be at. And that's where deadlifting with weight, you're starting out and you're starting out in the fully stretched position and then fully loading, and that'll cause a tilted pelvic, collapsed lower spine, and everything will start rounding forward. Where using bands does the opposite. It'll actually loosen up the lower back, let the pelvic bone stand up, and let all the tissue start pulling where it's supposed to be. As far as for band for neck stuff, that's the bare essentials that you really need to do.